Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. قل الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد رب اغفر وارحم وأنت خير الراحمين ذلكم الله ربي عليه توكلت وإليه أنيب ليس كمثله شيء هو السميع البصير. بسم الله. I'm supposed to be very angry right now, very psychotic, but the Lord wills, because the Lord controls the mind and the heart. I'm very strong. Not sure. Not about anything, but okay. Nothing more serious other than revolution or retribution. Revolution believes there can be another God with God. Retribution occurs when they fail to submit to God, when God sends his messengers. So, for what reason? For what reason do they not submit to God? Because firstly, what is propagated and what is the proper propaganda in the West is white supremacists, and fair is better than the rest. That's what the propaganda is. Fair are like orcs and goblins. They're influenced by the devils.
Okay then.
But anyway, who's to say who is a disbeliever and who is a believer? And who is to say that white supremacists, white people, deserve punishment for what they've done over the years? As colonialists, as crusaders, as warmongers, as usurers, banking, and as disbelievers in God. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'm a submitter and I read the Quran translated by Rajah Khalifa, which is the best translation you can find. And I've written extensively on various websites, which I own, which I rent out. You can't own websites anymore. You have to pay a service provider an annual fee, which works out to be about £20 a year. some nice websites. The first website I ever purchased was, don't matter what the first one was, then I bought, the first one was I bought when I left university, when I began writing, but my writing wasn't very fluid and I kept editing it and then making changes to the text, so it was very hard to read. I became a maze, and so when I started more fluid when I went to in 2008 when I began compiling my book, book on 3. Let me remind you of something. God controls life and death. That's one thing. God controls the solars, the planets, the heavens and the earth and everything. God controls everything. That's what we know. Look around. We know that anyway. God is omniscient, God is omnipotent, God is omnipresent. We also know that the British and Americans and the French who disbelieve in God spy on the history written by the victor, which is the Messiah, son of David. Should I be angry about that? All I know, we are told in the Quran, anyone who practices witchcraft, God has forbidden paradise for them. So those who fall under the devil's influence practice witchcraft and claim they have knowledge or intellect and claim they can talk to God, but they are liars. They're liars. And whereas like for example the lie that Iraq had WMD and there was a preemptive strike against them, the lie that the Jews had to be killed off. Now, was that Hitler in Mein Kampf who said that, or was that another witchcraft, sorcery, spying that led to them to conclude that Jews should be annihilated or something, which the Germans tried to do, and the Austrians and the Europeans, in a war that was financed by the Jewish cartel, the Zionists, and the Ashkenazi Jews, of whom Hitler was part of, began the destruction and the stealing of property of the Jewish diaspora. And now who's guilty of that? The Christians. Christians are guilty, and the Jews and the Ashkenazis are guilty, and the white man's guilty. The white man who said kill the white claw Jews is guilty. Because they turn arrogant to the news, because the source that the agent who provided them news of Messiah, son of David, wasn't an angel. It was the devils, and the devils will lead you to disbelief. They won't let you believe. They'll fill your head with illusions, because firstly, if you're a believer in God, you believe in the unseen, you have faith. But if you're not a believer in God, you observe the seen. And if you observe the scene, then everything in the scene will be particularized by devils. It will be devils who pinpoint things out to you. where to look and what not to look at. Whereas believers will say the whole is good, whereas a particular is evil, therefore the opposite of whole is good is particular is evil. Whereas those who believe in the good continue in believing the source of goodness is God. God is the source of goodness. And those who disbelieve in God practice witchcraft and sorcery. And disbelieve in God, despise the Messiah, son of David, who will happen to be the richest man in the world, will have a kinship because Solomon prayed, "My Lord, grant me a kinship that no one else has ever attained." Inshallah, that will be fulfilled with the Messiah, son of David. And if you read the Bible, the book of Solomon is addressed to his son. "My son," it says, "do not commit adultery, and do not do this, don't go to the door of the adulteress." Such things like that. I don't know how much of that is actually the work of Solomon's. But the faith of the Jewish people was that the Messiah, son of David, will lead them to the promised land. And that faith is still ignited, even though they face with tumultuous turmoil and many tests. And you see, the Zionist plot is not to believe in God, but to disbelieve in God and claim Jesus was begotten. Because what they will claim is that the Church of England are the rightful rulers on earth instead of Messiah, son of David. Because there are things in which Messiah, son of David has said which sting them. Things like a white man is the devil, or Messiah, son of David is a Baadshah, Amon-Ra is a bastard, and things like that, and all the insults